Howdy, folks. My name is Tony, and these are the outtakes of An Observer. I have a Google Drive folder full of half-baked concepts and essays that I like to ponder over every once in a while, and I don't think that I'm the best at taking something that I think about and then writing it down on paper. But what I seem to be alright at is taking something that I think about and then saying it out loud. Essentially, what this series is going to be is a bunch of miniature podcasts of basically shower thoughts that I think about every once in a while. And if that sounds interesting to you, then you can join me. Since this is the first episode, I suppose that I should introduce myself so that you can get to know your narrator person a little more, and the rest of this can we'll build on ideas as we go along. I had a couple of ideas of what I should call this. The first that I thought of was a letter to no one. Essentially, it would be formatted as a narrated letter that wouldn't be intended for anyone to listen to because they're all just sort of the absent-minded thoughts that I come up with throughout the day. But the name is a bit pretentious, so I decided not to go with it. The second name that I came up with was The Only Narrator You Need, Tony.N, which is not only pretentious in the acronym form, but also pretty stupid to name it after myself. But after a while, I remembered this series of essays that I used to write in a notebook called Outtakes of an Observer. And essentially what the names mean is me as an observant person, this is what I take out of the world around me. So I thought that was a perfectly fitting name for what is essentially an extension of that original project. I am a 20-year-old male that wears glasses. Funny story is that I struggled with seeing things in the distance for quite a while. Like, I had trouble reading signs, but it took me putting on my friend's glasses and then realizing that the world doesn't have to look like an impressionist painting to know that I needed glasses. Like, I put them on and then I was like, oh, I can read that sign over there. What do you know? Can I keep these? No. Then I need glasses. A couple of my favorite things, just in case this is a dating interview, you can get to fill out some information on my profile. My favorite video game is Minecraft, and that's because of the infinite number of things that you can build and design in that game that stems from a fairly simple base mechanic of just being able to place and dig up blocks. My favorite type of music are ambient soundtracks, sort of music that doesn't have any lyrics or isn't pop music. Yeah. A good example of the type of music that I like to listen to is the Fallout 76 soundtrack. That's a very nice soundtrack to just sort of zone out to when not doing that much. And my favorite color is the Crayola Scarlet Crayon. I know that's oddly specific, but it's because that specific crayon felt so much smoother to use whenever I would draw with it. And it's also such a pleasant shade of orange-red But I do have to say that my preschool teachers were alarmed when all of my drawings would be sort of red streaks, just because I enjoyed using the crayon and not any ulterior motives. Um, I'd say a strong suit of mine is my ability to explain things to people who wouldn't usually be able to understand a concept. Like, I've explained the technical aspects of 3D animation to my grandmother, and she understood it pretty well. So, I hope in this series I can take all of the weird ideas and thoughts that I have in my head and explain them in a way that they make sense to anyone that decides to listen. So, I've been Tony. I have always been Tony, and I don't think I'll want to stop being Tony. You've been you, keep being you, and have a good day.